Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Ken Rogers. On this week's program, the February installment of Ag in the Courtroom with Ag Law and Tax Specialist from the Washburn School of Law, Dr. Roger McEowen. Three very important issues we're going to be discussing that you need to be aware of, and they're working their way through the U.S. Supreme Court. We'll also have features from Kansas Soybean Commission, Kansas Department of Agriculture, and Kansas Grain Sorghum, and the weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association, and market information from Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers, Kansas Farm Bureau, a grassroots ag organization representing the state's farm and ranch families since 1919, KFB.org. And the Kansas Wheat Commission, lending in the adoption of profitable innovations from wheat, online at kswheat.com.
In agricultural news from agview.net, a coalition of 22 farm groups led by the American Farm Bureau sent a letter to the EPA to withdraw the Biden administration's WOTUS rule. Farm Bureau President Zippy Duvall said we need rules that are clear and can be interpreted by farmers without spending thousands of dollars on legal fees. He said we had that with the Navigable Waters Protection Rule. This proposed new rule threatens to take us back, he said, to vague and complicated regulations that will keep farmers from growing the nation's food while protecting the environment. On a related matter, the Supreme Court has agreed to take up the challenge of EPA's reach under the Clean Water Act. You can find out more, you search online. USDA reports that despite higher commodity prices for many crops, producers struggling due to high production costs. Now, although net cash farm income is forecasted to rise $1.9 billion to $136.1 billion this year, it will still translate into a 2.1% decline when adjusted for inflation. And American farmers are pushing the Biden administration and Congress to address those export challenges stemming from ocean carriers that are opting to haul empty containers back to Asia rather than carry U.S. ag exports. They say demand is far outpacing the supply chain ability to keep up. That's going to continue to be a problem that they should get ahead of. Representative Dusty Johnson from South Dakota, he authored a bill in the House to tackle this issue. Stay with us. Dr. Roger McEowen will be with us in just a moment.
The Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by Kansas Grain Sorghum, growers working together. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com.
Grain sorghum is one of the most important cereal crops worldwide, and Kansas leads the nation in its production. Over the years, sorghum has been either exported, used in animal feed domestically, or for other industrial uses. Recently, its use in the ethanol market has seen tremendous growth, with 30% of domestic sorghum typically going to ethanol production. Kansas Grain Sorghum is committed to sorghum research, market development, and education. Learn more at ksgrainsorghum.org.
And joining us is Dr. Roger McEowen once again for the kind of Ag in the Courtroom. Dr. McEowen with the Washburn University School of Law. Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
It seems like these months go by pretty quick, and there's always a number of issues. And let's start off right away with the Prop 12 in California. Almost, dare I say, a chilling effect could be on production agriculture, but right now it's kind of had a stop to it.
This is actually something that's been going on for about 10 years out in California. But finally, in 2018, in the fall election in November of 18, the voters enacted or approved Proposition 12, which basically allows California agriculture to dictate agricultural practices in other parts of the country if you want to sell your products into the California market. And the particular concerns are with pork products and poultry products. And basically what California is saying is we don't want products of those animals, those commodities, to be sold in this state unless they were raised in a certain way that we think is humane. And that's fine if California wants to do that to themselves. That's their process. However, the problem is, Ken, is they are saying everybody else across the country has to produce these ag products in the way that we want if you want access to our market. And the question is whether that's constitutional or not.
Well, it does. It seems to be that for one state to dictate what the rest of the country wants is or has to provide with such a large industry, that being the protein sector, is could be quite alarming.
The California market is huge. I think I've seen some data that the pork, for certain pork products, it's 10% of the United States market. So if that's closed out to our pork producers, that meat's got to go somewhere else. And it'll have to go into other parts of the country. And the question is, what's the demand supply issue, and what are the economics of that going to be? But this issue is before the U.S. Supreme Court. They have decided to take a case from the Ninth Circuit and render an opinion on the application of what's called the Dormant Commerce Clause. What can one state do to affect the economic commerce of another state? And that's a big issue, and that's a very important issue to agriculture.
Right. It's more than just pork. I mean, it could be any of those products that could go into the human food chain.
Right. The case that's presently before them involves pork, but you're right. This does apply to poultry, pork products, all types of, veal cuts, a whole host of ag products. So it's a big issue, but the one that's right before the Supreme Court is dealing with pork.
Dr. McEowen, before we go to our next segment, I want to remind folks how they can learn about all these things we talk about. You have a blog.
Yeah, and that blog is part of the Law Professors Blog Network. It's the Agricultural Law and Taxation blog, and it's accessible through my website, the homepage of my website, and that's washburnlaw.edu/WALTR, the Washburn Agricultural Law and Tax Report.
Dr. Roger McEowen is joining us. Let's take a break. We have a couple of very interesting things to talk about when we return.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and Checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
What if U.S. soybean meal were more than a commodity? If seed companies and the Soybean Checkoff built a better variety? That future is here. The time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is investing in the compositional quality of soybeans, including meal. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and LibertyLink that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Kansas Ag Report brought to you in part by the Kansas Livestock Association, supporting members' business interests and meeting consumer demands. KLA.org. Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed, find them on the web at oldseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. And Kansas Corn, building the future at kansascorn.com.
And joining us is Dr. Roger McEowen from the Washburn School of Law. And we talk about agriculture throughout the legal system. And Dr. McEowen, you've come across one that maybe many of us are unaware of. And it comes to kind of where you buy your food if you're out traveling or where you live. Could that be deductible or not? Very interesting.
Yeah, this is an issue that's it's always a big one for farms and ranches, particularly at harvest time. We hire people to come and cut crops for us, harvest crops for us. We may prepare a meal, take it out to the field. Can we deduct those meals? Well, the rule used to be prior to the TCJA, prior to 2018, that you could write off 100% of your business meals. TCJA cut that basically to 50%. And then said, we've had some virus-related legislation that said, well, we're going to open that back up to 100% for meals from a restaurant. Then IRS said per diems. You can just provide a daily per diem and that'll count. But the question is, this restaurant issue, it has to be from a restaurant and you can get takeout and bring it home. This was designed to stimulate restaurant businesses as a result of the virus, the shutdowns. The question has been, what is a restaurant? IRS is taking the position, Ken, that a convenience store, as well as a grocery store, I understand that, but a convenience store is not a restaurant. The problem we have in many rural areas, Western Kansas, the Plains states, Dakotas, Wyoming, Montana, so forth, the only place that's relatively close and economical for employees to go during the day from the farm or the ranch might be that convenience store that's out in the middle of nowhere that's got a few tables and chairs in it, and they sell sandwiches and pizza and those types of things. And the IRS said that's not a restaurant, so the 100% allowance does not apply in that situation. We're trying to work with the tax committees in Congress to push on IRS to change their view of that. They just don't understand that in a rural area, convenience store may in effect be your restaurant, your only choice.
And the last thing we want to talk about this time around is something that, you know, when we talk about making that transition from one generation to the other, that may mean or a family member that maybe is under state care or something like that, and dealing with Medicaid. And you found some interesting things there as well.
Yeah, there's a big case on this that's currently before the U.S. Supreme Court. So we're going to get an opinion on this term by the end of June. And Medicaid is a combination state-federal program. There's funding both ways. And the state kind of sets its own rules and decides what version of Medicaid it wants to participate in. That's an oversimplification, but the state has its own rules. The state also has a Medicaid recovery unit. In other words, if a Medicaid beneficiary, person that receives Medicaid benefits, then the state can come in their estate once they die and recover a lot, if not all, of those benefits from the estate to the extent that there are funds that they paid during life. Well, what happens in the case that's before the Supreme Court, it involves this question: what happens if a Medicaid beneficiary receives a court settlement or judgment from a third party because they were injured in an accident, for example, and now they get an $800,000 judgment, which is what happened in this case? The Florida Medicaid agency swept in and said, we've got a lien on that entire $800,000, but only $35,000 of that was designated as for past medical expenses. And so the plaintiff, in this case, the family, is arguing, well, your lien only applies to past medical expenses. You don't have a lien on the whole thing. You can't get future medical expenses that haven't been incurred yet. That's the big issue. Now, the lower court did uphold the state's recovery statute, which is a big issue, but the Supreme Court's going to decide what the language of the federal statute means in terms of these recovery laws.
Okay, this is one I'm sure that'll be is interest to a lot of people. We'll know more as we go. So, Dr. McEowen, sure appreciate the update. We'll talk with you next week or next month.
Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Ken.
Dr. Roger McEowen from the Washburn School of Law. Stay with us. We'll have more coming up.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff, progress powered by Kansas farmers.
When growers share their sustainability stories, they usually paint a picture of reduced till or no-till, cover crops, and overall soil health. Maintaining optimal soil health presents new opportunities, namely the carbon market. As corporations move toward carbon neutrality, the National Soybean Checkoff is working to ensure growers are well positioned to capitalize on a market where corporations pay for carbon sequestered in the soil by farmers and that science backs the credits market. Many growers already use ideal management practices. The decision to sell carbon is not clear-cut. A 2021 survey conducted by Farm Journal showed that 45% of farmers are either lacking proper information to jump in or are saying no altogether. Much of the apprehension comes from conditions within the programs, such as programs that only recognize and compensate newly adopted practices. For individuals wanting to know more about available opportunities or program risks, the United Soybean Board, alongside other commodity groups and the American Society of Agronomy, are hosting a series of 3 webinars that kicked off February 16th. The next 2 installments are March 2nd with insights from field advisors and March 23rd with grower perspectives. Registration information for this series is available at www.agronomy.org.
Next time you see a beautiful field of corn, reach out and thank the farmers who work tirelessly to raise corn for livestock feed, renewable fuels, and exports to feed a growing world population. The farmers on the Kansas Corn Commission work for Kansas Corn with grower-funded checkoff dollars that support foreign and domestic market development, research, promotion, and education to expand opportunities for Kansas farmers. To learn more, visit kscorn.com.
The Kansas Grain Sorghum Commission held their Winter 2022 board meeting at American Ag Credit in Salina, Kansas to hone in on the year ahead and receive reports from state and national staff deeply ingrained in the sorghum industry advancements this year. The commission is comprised of sorghum farmers from the 9 USDA crop reporting districts of Kansas, elected each year by Kansas sorghum farmers themselves. Presenting to the commission were staff for the Collaborative Sorghum Investment Program housed at Kansas State University, as well as United Sorghum Checkoff Program staff, fulfilling a picture of new opportunities for sorghum growers in the near future. And speaking of new opportunities, Kansas Grain Sorghum has recently welcomed Parker Volgamore, a student at Kansas State University from Scott City, onto our staff as Kansas Grain Sorghum's 2022 Collegiate Fellow. And in the same week that the commission met, Kansas Grain Sorghum Commission Chairman Kevin Kniebel presented annual commodity testimony on behalf of the sorghum industry to the Kansas House and Senate Agriculture Committees, reporting on the 2021 growing year and educating policymakers about dynamics in the year ahead. Chairman Kniebel, a sorghum farmer near White City, discussed the meaningful year the sorghum industry in Kansas has seen in 2021, noting a 20% increase in acreage to 3.6 million acres of sorghum planted throughout the state and a national average price per bushel of $5.85 last year. In fact, this past year's national sorghum crop was valued at $2.7 billion, the most valuable U.S. sorghum crop in history. Read more about 2021's highlights for Kansas sorghum in the Kansas Grain Sorghum Commission's annual report, found online at ksgrainsorghum.org. Reporting for Kansas Grain Sorghum, this is Adam York.
Many seed companies claim to offer the latest genetics, but how many have tested those genetics in soils just like yours? The Oldie Seed Know to Grow research program has fully tested the latest seed genetics in soils that are right in your neighborhood. The Oldie Seed Know to Grow program can recommend the best performing hybrids from technologies like Enlist, Extend, and Liberty Link that will optimize the yield and profit of every acre on your farm. Contact Oldie Seed today.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
biggest challenges for most agriculture businesses, large or small, is finding skilled employees who are trained and prepared to fill the job openings to keep Kansas agriculture running smoothly. At the Kansas Department of Agriculture, we have heard these concerns often, both in one-on-one conversations with many of you and in more formal discussions like our sector sessions at the annual Ag Growth Summit. We want to help identify those workforce needs among agricultural employers, so we're conducting a Kansas Agriculture Workforce Needs Assessment Survey to help us better understand current workforce issues and trends within the Kansas agriculture industry, and then to steer future discussions and identify solutions for positive changes for our state's leading economic driver, agriculture. This month, KDA asks you to help by participating in this survey. We need Kansas farmers, ranchers, agribusinesses, manufacturers, and producers of agricultural products, anyone in agriculture who hires employees, to complete the survey by answering questions about the challenges in recruiting and retaining employees. Your responses will help identify the number and types of jobs in the state's agriculture industry and the specific skills required for those jobs. The Kansas Agriculture Workforce Needs Assessment Survey is currently being offered online at agriculture.ks.gov/workforce, but we can also mail you a paper version if you prefer. The survey will be open until April 8th. We know that workforce is a significant concern across all sectors of Kansas agriculture, and we know more needs to be done. This survey will help clarify the employment needs of all employers in agriculture and will provide information that can possibly lead to long-term solutions.
Are you looking for Medicare supplement insurance plans? Now is a good time to look at your options with Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans. A Medicare supplement insurance plan can help cover certain out-of-pocket expenses Medicare doesn't cover. Things like deductibles, co-insurance, and certain limitations that can be costly in the event of an accident or illness. With Kansas Farm Bureau Health Plans, you have options to Medicare supplement insurance plans with 4 levels of affordable coverage and service from an organization known for its commitment serving Kansans. We encourage you to compare our rates. For more information and to get a quote, contact a Farm Bureau Financial Services agent near you or visit kfbhealthplans.com. Medicare supplements insured by Members Health Insurance Company, Columbia, Tennessee. Not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. or state government.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and Checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.
Imagine turning soybean oil, used cooking oils, and waste animal fats into fuel so amazing it drives U.S. jobs and our economy forward. Learn more about biodiesel at americasadvancedbiofuel.com.
While winter athletes from around the globe converge on the slopes and ice rinks of Beijing to compete for the podium at the 2022 Winter Olympics, consumers back in Kansas are seeing more than 80 Checkoff-funded television advertisements featuring the king of protein, beef. The programming, which began airing February 4th and will run through February 20th, features the Kansas Beef Council's One Simple Ingredient campaign, which showcases youth athletes fueling their potential with beef, a delicious protein with 10 essential nutrients and just one simple ingredient, something alternative proteins cannot provide. The campaign is estimated to generate more than 1 million views through popular daytime, primetime, and Olympic zone coverage on NBC and affiliate stations throughout Kansas. In addition to these broadcast segments, the Kansas Beef Council has started the year off strong, advocating for beef in healthy and active lifestyles and providing simple, delicious recipes for consumers. Content produced and disseminated by the Kansas Beef Council was seen more than 3 million times in the first 5 weeks of 2022. Visit kansasbeef.org to learn more about demand-building activities conducted by the Kansas Beef Council.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.
Premier Farm and Home has what you need to make your lawn the best in the neighborhood.
Hi, I'm Ken. We choose Premier Farm and Home for the professional look that we do ourselves.
Feel free to stop in. You can also visit our website at heycow.com.
Good day. I'm Derek Hermish with Pinion, a division of K-Coe Isom. Volatile grain markets are the new normal, it seems. The good thing about true volatility is that it creates much more opportunity than flat markets. However, your opportunity to experience regret is much greater as well. For example, say you sell your soybeans on a 50-cent rally only to watch it go up another $1 the next week after you sell. Can you be happy about selling into the initial rally, or are you going to focus on what you missed out on? Regret should be the least of your concerns when it comes to marketing, but it can rear its ugly head in these environments and negatively affect decisions down the road. Selling your grain at profitable levels is the key. That's what you're always told, but it's never that simple. It is true that you will not go broke selling for a profit, but you're not in the business of making widgets for $1 and selling them for $2. Volatile markets provide opportunity, but they also provide opportunity cost. If you make a decision that nets you 50 cents less on average for your grain than your fellow neighboring farmers, nobody's going to offer you a discount on fertilizer or seed or equipment repairs to help you make up for it. Quite the opposite, as we've seen recently with inputs going higher. There are options, literally, that can be very useful in volatile markets. Yes, I am referring to puts and calls. I know there are many of you out there that are not fans of options. I talk to you quite frequently, and sometimes I agree with you. But in my experience, this is the environment to utilize them. If you'd like to visit with us about it, give us a call at 888-452-8751. I'm Derek Hermish. Have a good day.
Well, that's our show this week. Be social with us online, KansasAgReport.net, or our social media channels. I'm Ken Rogers. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Kansas Corn reminds you that E15 fuel is the right choice for every kind of driver. For the car enthusiast, E15 has higher octane. For the thrifty driver, E15 is priced lower than regular unleaded. For the nature lover, E15 provides cleaner air. For the shopper who buys local, E15 has more ethanol from our Kansas corn farms. Choose E15 for a higher octane, lower price, cleaner American fuel. Message from the Kansas Corn Commission. Learn more at kscorn.com.
What if sustainability were synonymous with U.S. soy? If energy efficiency, water quality, and soil health help define U.S. soy's value, that future is here, the time is now. To meet end-user demands, the Soybean Checkoff is committing to sustainability that's achievable, worthwhile, and enduring. A message from the Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers.